There is a place unseen by metro players and forgotten by old school players. This place that is hidden between what is playable and what is not. A place lost. Here, in this place, there is a middle ground between fun and competitive. This place we now enter, it begins at the pit of a YuGiOh player's ability to read and at the summit of their ability to net deck. This is a place that needs a lot of thought. This is the Rogue Zone. We got first place with Generaider, baby. And I just wanna say, like, this deck has just come such a long way. I'm saying to think like it won a event in the OCG. I see persons posting in the main group saying that they won locals with it, and now here I am winning with it. This deck has come a long way, and I guess it's only up from here. So we're just going to go ahead and jump right into the list. I'm going to use the list just to talk about the cards specifically, but when it comes down to breaking down why I'm playing what I'm playing, I'll be doing it in the replay portion, because this video will be for intermediate and also new players, right, to this deck, because I see a lot of persons also asking a lot of questions about ratios, why they play what they play, etc, etc. So I'm going to also be showing something that you should know with the deck, right. Alright, so let's just hop right into it, directly right in. So starting with our Generator cards, 3 copies of the field spell, of course, the main way you go into your bosses, 3 copies of Lopter, 3 copies of Vala, 1 Utgarda, 1 Mardell, its targets, and 2 Har. 3 copies of Nibiru, 3 Ash, 3 Imperm, 2 Darkler No Mores, as are going second cards. For our plants, we play 3 copies of 3 copies of Sunseed Loci, of course. What's kind of funny is that we're technically playing Loki and Loki and Loki, so this deck plays 3 Lokis technically, right? So 3 copies of Loki, 3 ways to bring it out, 1 Spore, and the only brick, well, not really a brick, but the sowing. And to supplement our plant engine, since we're not really playing Braves in this list is kind of budget, also something new players can try out. We're playing 3 Parallel Exceed. Once again, I'll go over these in the replay portion. For utility cards, we're just playing 2 Crossout and a Call by the Grave to help us play against hand traps and so forth. Now for the side deck, we play 3 Lancia for Kashtira, 3 Baldric for dark decks and so forth, like Despia with their branded in red and so on. I really do wish there was more reason to play this in the main deck, because this card is an honorary generator. It can tribute a it's basically like a Utgarda. When your opponent summons a monster, extra deck type of monster, it can just tribute a light and dark, which your token is, your horror is, and all that. Banish it. Stuff for back row decks, front row decks, and back row decks, and also 3 cards to go ahead and combat what I'm predicting to be the best cards in the format. Kashtira, we have Sword Soul and Despia, right? So for those decks, it's just a turn skip for them. Now for the extra deck, we have 2 copies of Jormungandr, the card that's summoning it, the best of boys, our boy Levitin, 1 Zeus, 1 Blathnir, 1 Periton, and 1 Rika Strena and Dugaris. Once again, explaining those shortly. 1 copy of Dryas, 1 Healer, 1 Jasmine, 1 Milius, Bengalancer, and Chenying. So that itself is the list. I'm going to go now hop into some replays and display to you some things you should know about the deck's line of play, and also going to explain to you some things I think about the cards and why I chose these macros, so on and so forth. With that being said, let's get it. For the first demonstration of lines we should know, right, we're going to go ahead and talk about Pearl Exceed's implications in your deck, and also with a way to Loki. So for this example, we're going to go ahead and activate the the die special, the Loki, and then link off the Loki into a Dryas, right? Then we're going to activate our chain links, chain link 1, chain link 2, special out, add a copy of this, right? So 2 things. Let's say for this example, the opponent managed to Imperm, Veiler, or what is it called, Moonlight Chill our copy of Dryas, right? So we didn't get to add the sowing. We're going to go ahead and activate the effect of the Parallax Seed. Parallax Seed summon another one of itself. We're going to XC summon a copy of the Eureka Queen Strenna. Then we're going to activate its effect to go ahead and detach a copy of Loci. Sorry, to add a copy of Loci from the graveyard. So from here, since we didn't normal summon, we can just go ahead, link off into Jasmine, and then essentially play through the hand trap that they basically hit us with there. So now, the reason why we played Dugaris in this same vein, right? So let's say that we didn't activate Die, right? Let's say that we had to normal summon our Loki to actually play the game, right? We can go ahead and actually summon the Dugaris instead of the Eureka Queen Strenna. And then from there, we would go ahead and just detach 2, summon back the Loki from the graveyard, and then once more, attempt to go into our plays with our Jasmine going into the field spell and Bangalancer through one hand trap. Right? Something to note here is there is a line of play. Let's say, for example, that your opponent ashes the Parallax Seed, which they kind of shouldn't do. There is a line of play, a tech choice, I can tell you, that you can play Cross, Rose Dragon, and Moonlight Dragon, where you could link off these two, activate your sowing, get a Loki, link off the Parallax Seed and the Dryas into the Crossroads, and then on the opponent's turn you'd have access to summoning a plant synchro or a rose synchro monster. So that's something to keep in mind. Alright, now on to the next setup. So now for the next instance of things you should know. So this part specifically is for the new players of Generator. You need to understand that as good as a card Vala is, it's very flawed. For one, this card should not have discarded a Generator from your hand to summon a Generator from the hand or graveyard. It should have just revealed a Generator in hand to go ahead and summon a Raider from deck, graveyard, or hand. Nothing was stopping Konami from doing that, right? So this segues into two things I'm trying to say to you now. One, this is not an XYZ deck. This is not an XYZ deck. You're playing a control deck with big monsters that have access to XYZ cards, but you're not playing an XYZ deck. And also, because Vala discards as cost to send itself to special self, then special one from graveyard, it plays into bestials. So at any moment in time, which happened over the course of the day, I got hit by a couple bestials and they took my Har. And losing Har really hurts. Har is somewhat of your win condition. He's your bread and butter. Hence why I'd recommend you play 2 at all times. And also, something you should know is that if you have access to Har, and for example in this case, and you have a Loki, you should restrain yourself from going into a Leviathan. Keep your Har and your Vala on the field to insulate your plant combo from plays like Nibiru and stuff like Ashen Veiler, whatever you see fit, right? So once again, it's not a XYZ deck. It's just a monster. It's just a deck with big monsters that can access XYZ monsters. Keep your Har on field for more interruption and to protect your most important combo, which is your plant combo. On to the next one. Now for this one, I'm going to go ahead and just give you a brief reminder of something. So let's say we already have access to our field spell, right? We can actually go ahead now. So for the next example of things we should always think about, right? So let's say, for example, we have access to our field spell already, and we go ahead and summon out Vala, summon out a copy of the Lopter's effect, summon out a copy of Mardell. So then Mardell can add us any Generator card or plant card. And since we already have access to our field spell, it might as well we just go ahead and go into our plant engine. And at this point in time is the only time I'd say go ahead and make like a Leviathan or a rank 9. Otherwise, I would not recommend using your bodies for anything else. But Mardell and Vala on the field don't really do much of anything, so might as well just turn them into a Leviathan to get interruption out of them and then begin our plant combo, right? Keep that in mind. So now for siding, right? So something I was doing over the course of the day was, for example, let's say games 2 and 3 where we know we're going first, for example, we can go ahead and side out the copies of Darkula No More for copies of a Twin Twister and evenly matched to go ahead and give ourselves better opportunities to not play into those cards. We can just activate our cross out, go ahead and banish them from the deck, negate them. Obviously Lancias again for the Kashtira matchup, so they don't go down, or also for evenly and so forth. The Baldrake. So Baldrake is something that most times, depends on the deck I'm playing, I'm setting it going first and second, because once more it's technically a honorary generator, because it can tribute a light or dark monster, right? So our tokens, our Garda, our Har, and so forth. For going first, of course, to make our going first better, we'd probably side out the Nibirus for the dimensional barriers, depending on the matchup, the Baldrakes and the Lancias. So in terms of when we're going like against trap decks, which we didn't get to play much because our matchups were Runic, Runic Sprite, Despia, some other rogue deck, Rika, Sun Avalon, that pure variant, and also post Banlist tier. And our only loss was against the Runic player because he kept like banishing our good stuff. So yeah, in the finals it was versus a Kashtira, and let me go ahead and say this now. This might be wild, but that deck is overhyped. I'm yet to really like lose to that deck in a way where I'm like, okay, I got outplayed. No, every time I lose to a Kashtira player, it's because I was sacked. What was that, John? But it's the truth. So yeah, that's just the list. That's what I played for the first place, right? Glad to see this deck actually able to actually perform. You'll love to see it. Glad to see it. Until the next time, stay raiding, stay safe. The Rogue Man loves you. We out.